All right, everyone. Welcome to I'm actually curious now. Welcome to episode what is it? Episode
96.
96. Wow. We've put a lot of content out there. Welcome to episode 96 of the KNA Football Podcast. We are here today to, of course, as everyone knows, recap Super Bowl 59. That's actually crazy that it's Super Bowl 59. I mean, I remember the 49th Super Bowl. I think everyone does. The Steelers, not Steelers. Oh my gosh, the Seahawks, Patriots Super Bowl, and I mean it seems like so recent ago, and now here we are at 59. 60s just next year, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
But we're here to recap that for you guys, and then we're also going to talk about the award winners for this year. Super excited to do that. I'm sure we'll have a lot of great conversations in between. So without further ado, welcome to KNA Football. All right, everyone, welcome back. Debbie, Carson, welcome back to you as well. Before we start talking about football, what did you guys do for the Super Bowl? How'd you celebrate this big cultural event?
Go ahead.
I just watched it at home with the fam and the dog, and just had a family Super Bowl watching experience. Nothing crazy.
Valid.
Pretty similar experience. Just my grandparents came over and we just watched it as a family, including the whole halftime show, which I was surprised they stuck around for that. So, grandparents, I guess.
I'm obviously not at home, so I can't watch with my family, even if I wanted to. So a bunch of my friends and I went to one of the academic buildings here, reserved one of the classrooms, and watched it on the big projector that they have in there. They have actually a pretty good sound system, so it's pretty based. One of our friends, his mom sent him a bunch of like food and gift cards to get more food, so we kind of chowed down on that. I'm sure we'll talk about the halftime show at some point. I did not watch the halftime show. I got sick at halftime.
Oh man.
So that was really great.
Wings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that it was because I ate too much food, but there have been rumors that it's because I ate too much food. So we're just gonna pretend like that didn't happen. And of course, that didn't make my viewing experience any better for the rest of the game. Watching the Chiefs get pummeled over and over again.
Right. As a big Chiefs fan, of course.
Number one Chiefs fan.
All my memorabilia around me is literally all Kansas City. I was not beating the allegations all night, in case anyone was curious. Like,
we weren't.
Nobody was curious, Austin. We all knew.
All right. With that, let's get into the Super Bowl. So, obviously, as everyone knows, Kansas City Chiefs played the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl, a rematch of the 2022?
2022, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So I missed
one of those Super Bowls.
So
yeah, you did that. You're right. 2022 Super Bowl between the Chiefs and Eagles, in which the Chiefs ended up winning that one. In this one, the Eagles go ahead and take it in phenomenal fashion. They ended up winning 40-22. I had to check the score again. 40-22. One of the most boring Super Bowls I have watched since the Chiefs lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 21. I think that was another blowout game where the Buccaneers defense was just destroying the Kansas City offensive line. Patrick Mahomes got sacked a bunch of times. Nothing could get going for them on offense. And then obviously having Tom Brady on the other side, there's nothing you can do about that. And that was kind of the story of this game too. Eagles defense was just on top of things. they blitzed 0 times in this game, and they sacked Patrick Mahomes, I want to say, in upwards of 6 times in this game, which is insane.
Like 3 or I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, but it was like in one possession. It was absolutely insane. Like right at the end of the second half.
6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I hit that one right on the head, and it was a complete guess. Shout out to me. So yeah, I mean, the Eagles defense just could not be stopped or moved, as the case may be, and that was really the story of this game.
That also makes him the second QB in Super Bowl history to take 6 sacks against 4 or fewer pass rushers. Just a random
Who's the first one?
Good question.
Find that one, Debbie.
You're asking the right question.
Curious to know. Thank you. I try. Yeah, Carson, do you have anything to say about the game as we continue moving through this?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's just incredible what the Eagles defense did. I mean, they weren't even like they were just bull rushing the quarterback every time. It wasn't even go around him. It was just straight up bull rush, and it worked. Obviously, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, just absolutely dominant. But yeah, that was, like you said, that was the main story of the game. The Eagles defense just dominating Patrick Mahomes, and yeah.
So it was Rodgers stuck in Super Bowl 10 against the Steelers.
What do you think? Got sacked that many times?
Yeah, he took 6 sacks against the Steelers in Super Bowl 10.
Yeah. So obviously the game started out entertaining enough. I mean, there were only 7 points scored by the Eagles in the first quarter. And I think at that point, everyone thought that, we were in for a little bit of a game here, low scoring. This is going to be fun. But I think that what everyone noticed, myself especially, was that the Eagles obviously were moving the ball a lot easier than the Chiefs were. The Chiefs they had on their first possession, first play, they get a first down. And then after that, they didn't get a first down for like the rest of the half. The Eagles were able to move the ball quite effectively, but a few key stops by the Chiefs defense was able to make them either kick field goals or punt the ball away as the second half rolled in. And then it was just downhill from there. The Eagles were able to score 17 in the second quarter. So that was not particularly ideal. And then it was just a run away from there.
Yeah. Something that was interesting that I heard one of the announcers talking about during this game, and I don't know if one of you guys have more insight on this, but they were talking about how the Eagles' offensive line was able to attack Patrick Mahomes so fast that he wasn't able to get these short passes out that he usually does, which gained them a lot of yards. And instead, he was having to throw longer passes, which then resulted in more turnovers and then missed catches on the receiver side. I thought that was an interesting analyzing the situation of like
analysis.
Why analysis? Thank you. Analysis of like I've become Caden. Sorry, Caden.
Even when he's not here, he's getting flamed.
I was catching strays.
But so I don't know. I mean, it made a lot of sense to me because they've been so dominant to see Patrick Mahomes just get sacked over and over and over again and just really not be able to get his wits about him. I saw there was one play though that was unfortunate where Patrick Mahomes is under pressure and Travis Kelce's in the middle of the field and he has a defender on him, but like they're pretty far apart. Patrick Mahomes is just getting absolutely pressured and he's just standing there just like he literally just like throws his hands up in the air and just like walks away. Like he was wide open, could have easily made a couple yards and just Patrick Mahomes could not get the ball out.
Yeah, the pressure was pretty relentless, and then obviously it was tough even when he got those quick passes out. I mean, I think everyone who watched the game would have seen Travis Kelce kind of struggled in this game, even on those short little dink and dunks. He wasn't catching the ball, and I think a big part of that might be, there's some games out there, some sports that are like really focused on rhythm. Like basketball is a big one. Like once you find your rhythm, you can start playing well. If you're not in your rhythm, you're not playing well. Golf is another big one. If you're in your groove, you're hitting it. Football is not quite that way, but if your team isn't performing well, if you're not getting passes, if the morale is low, that's obviously going to affect things. So if on that first pass you don't connect, if your quarterback's getting sacked as many times as he is. It's tough to get that machine rolling. Tough to get your team fired up, especially when you go down big in the biggest game of your career potentially for most of these guys.
Yeah, Travis only had 4 catches on 6 targets for 39 yards the entire game. Just
that's like the crucial part of their offense is
right.
Like that's Mahomes' bread and butter, just Mahomes to Kelsey. I mean, you can't get that going. It's hard to get anything else. Run game wasn't working. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the run game, Patrick Mahomes was the lead rusher for the Chiefs with 25 whole yards. So shout out to them for getting that rolling.
Does that include sacks or is that just college? Because I know they're different.
I don't think that includes the sacks.
Okay.
He also threw for 257. So shout out to him. But as many of you would know if you watched the game, a lot of those yards came in the last 5 minutes of the game when they were just hurling them down there. He had 2 interceptions. On the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts threw for 221, 2 touchdowns and interception. Jalen Hurts was also the lead rusher. It was tough for them to get Saquon rolling. He was the lead rusher with 72 yards. So tough day rushing both teams.
Yeah, for their credit, they really locked Saquon down. I don't know if that was a lot of film study going into it. I'm assuming that's kind of what they were doing because they know that he's like literally the key part. So it was kind of interesting as an Eagles fan watching them continue to lock down Saquon and being a little bit hesitant of like, okay, so can we throw and consistently get completions? And we could somehow.
Yeah, they forced they took away the run and Philly just gave what the defense or took what the defense gave them and threw the ball. And it worked out for them.
Yeah. Debbie, did you have some stats for us on this game?
Yes. I had. Well, okay. So the news is, I guess this is kind of more widely known, but still breaking news for some people. But Kadarius Toney apparently has been arrested as of the 6th. So like pretty much right after the Super Bowl, I believe, for some type of domestic assault of some sort. So that's not great. Not a great look for the Chiefs right after the Super Bowl.
Shout out. Somehow he's catching strays, but not catching footballs. Go crazy.
Real. So, but a funny one for the Giants. I mean, it's not really funny for them, kind of at their loss. This is the 5th season in a row where the Giants' first round pick has won a ring for another team. Remember back in 2020, JPP for the Bucks won. They got a Super Bowl ring. 2021, OBJ. 2022 and 2023, Kadarius Toney, and then 2024, Saquon. So
wow.
Imagine if the Giants had just kept a few players. How much?
Hey, the Giants draft Super Bowl winners. That's what I took away from this.
That is wild.
Draft well.
They just don't keep them.
Just don't hang on to them when it matters.
So that's kind of
that reminds me of if we have any baseball viewers in the chat. The Marlins had this super team of Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton, and all these like MVP caliber guys, and they just traded all of them off, like the exact same thing as the Giants.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for them. And this is just kind of another stat showing how the deficit at the halftime. So at the halftime, Chiefs had 23 yards in total. Eagles had 179. Chiefs had 1 first down, which you mentioned, Austin, and the Eagles had 13 first downs. Time of possession was the Eagles had double of what the Chiefs had. Chiefs had 10 minutes and 1 second, and the Eagles had 19:59. So, I mean, just absolute domination in the first half. Obviously, both sides got a little tired towards the end there, but I mean, I don't think many people saw that coming. Yeah, it was kind of nuts to watch.
Yeah.
And then I have one. This can kind of go into the halftime show a little bit too, but I know we want to talk about the refs a little bit. But someone mapped out Kendrick Lamar's movements around the entire field, and it was more yards than the Chiefs got, I believe, rushing yards the entire game, which is an unfortunate stat. It's a very unfortunate stat.
He was kind of moving around, though. I mean, to be fair to
moving.
the Chiefs' defense. I mean, rushing game, but
yeah,
that's still embarrassing.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Austin, did you want to? So, full disclosure, obviously, we're watching the Super Bowl. none of us are watching it together, but we have some group chats, and of course, people were commenting and getting pressed. Some would say others were getting pressed. Some would say some are getting pressed. You know,
Debbie was getting pressed in case anyone
Austin was getting
curious.
severely pressed.
Debbie was mostly pressed.
Everyone in the group chat agreed with me that Austin was getting pressed.
No one agreed with you, actually.
Hayden texted me privately. I'm sorry to break it to you, Austin, but yeah.
You have no proof of that.
I do.
He texted me privately and said that you did too.
Okay. But regardless, there was especially some chatter right after, I think it was like the first play or the first drive of
First drive
with the Eagles having the ball. There was a passing route to AJ Brown, I believe, and he caught the ball. Man, we should just play the clip, honestly. Or I can just play it. And McDuffie falls.
Nice over-the-shoulder catch.
There's a little bit of face mask there. I didn't see that before.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they called there. I mean, they didn't call... They called an offensive pass interference, and that's what everyone was upset about. Because like, oh, that's not offensive pass interference.
Right.
Watching this clip back again, like I will continue to say, like, was McDuffie going to get that ball? Probably not. Could he have gotten around and made a play on the ball? Probably. Did those hands to his face cause him to fall? I would argue so, and that's where the offensive pass interference is coming from.
So yeah, the hands to the face makes sense. I don't think that they called that though.
They called offensive pass interference because he then
when they call offensive pass interference.
Also, look at it. He's not looking where his hand's going as well. I know that.
Well, that's not really an excuse for where your hands are going, though.
Sure. But I mean, he's clearly just trying to make a little space, a little bit of a shove there. But it's not. It's. I mean, I think some people. I mean, both the announcers disagreed with the call during the game, which is kind of the main talking point.
When the refs call offensive pass interference, they look for the receiver to extend his arm to the defender. And AJ Brown did do a little bit of that. So I see where the refs are coming from. But in that situation, I think you just let him play. I mean, it looks like a normal football play to me.
I mean, look, I don't disagree that in that situation, like, and I said this in the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl, where the Eagles ended up losing that one, that controversial pass interference call. I've said it there and I'll say it again. Should they have called this? Probably not. They probably should have let them play there. By the book, is this a foul? Yeah. Situationally, should they let them play? Probably. But I've said this before and I'll continue to say it until I die. A game is not determined by the referees, and the referees are people. And so when, as a referee, you have to remember that these, like, as much as the players are in the Super Bowl, these referees are also in the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of their career too. For some of them, this might be the only Super Bowl they ever get to do, and they've worked their whole lives to get here. They want to get the calls right. So when the sideline referee sees an arm extended to a defender's face and he makes the catch and the defender can't make a play on the ball, being the first big play down the sideline towards that sideline official, I'm probably throwing that flag too, because I don't want to get it wrong. I see by the book, we have a foul here. I'm throwing that flag.
I can see your point. I think part of my objection comes to the fact that, like, this is what the announcers suggested as well, was that this is such a crucial game that you should really have your calls. Your calls are pretty significant in such a huge game. It's the championship game of the Super Bowl. So I don't know. They should have, like they said, they should have let it play, and they probably shouldn't have been so strict about that rule, especially if you're gonna, like, not play by the book, to the rule the whole season, and then suddenly you call these. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
That's not really how refereeing works. You have to play for the game. Like, you can't play consistently across.
Sure, but they didn't. I mean, if they were going to call everything exactly like what that call was, then they would have called way more during the rest of the game. So
that's true. But again, that also has something to do with, like, where, like, teams will script their first 2 possessions just to, like, fall into a rhythm. It's the same sort of thing. A referee gets out there. That's the first possession out there. Again, like, he's just as nervous as everyone else out there. He's throwing that flag. As you calm down and settle into the game, you're not going to call such ticky-tacky fouls.
Austin, understanding the refs Austin understanding the refs play there because he's a former ref himself or current referee. Current ref,
not
current
a
referee.
So
I can see Austin's sympathy for the referees here.
Right. Seems like we have a little bit of bias in the room, but
the referees need a voice. I will be the voice of the referees.
Then this next call, I'm not gonna lie, I don't see how Austin.
I see it every day of the week.
Let's play
I see it every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
All right, let's just play it once. So here's the call. Here's the play, and if you missed it, it's because you missed it because there wasn't anything there. Apparently, number 49 here moves, and that's what makes 45 jump. So let's just watch it, and then that's the whole play there. I can get another angle for you.
Carson, do you see 49 move? The long snapper?
I did not. When I saw the play for the first time, I thought it was offsides. I don't see. Hey, Keegan, could you play that one more time by chance?
Yeah. I'm gonna play the angle that the defender would have seen.
Do you see that? Did you see him move before that ball got snapped?
I see.
Does that not look like he's? Does that not like he's taking an inhale though? Before he snaps the ball.
Why?
That's what it looks like to me.
Why are none of the other guys moving? Are they not breathing? Are they all holding their breath? Why is he the only one that moves?
It's a smooth movement. Notice,
where's 45 heads at? Where's 45 heads at? He's looking at the center because that's where you look. And when he sees him move, he jumps. I think that's
he's the first one to jump up. I mean, he's the look at the delay.
And then they all keep playing it. And they look, the rest of the line moves before that ball's even snapped too.
Austin, I'm sorry.
The rest of the line moves before the ball's even snapped too.
It is
that ball's not moving, and the three guys are moving. No, he moved, and I will stand by that every day of the week. I don't see how you don't see him move. I really don't.
He does move, but I mean,
if you watch the whole clip,
he literally is moving. Look, he moved like
he's allowed to push every single time slightly, and you call that?
Yes, because that you're impacting the defender to move. Like
crazy,
that's what a false start is. That is definitionally a false start. If you move before the ball is snapped, that is a false start.
This is even worse.
You didn't catch the front part of that clip in that one.
I did.
Wait, play that one more time.
Again, he moves right there before the ball is moved.
It looks like he's just kind of extending his arms, kind of.
It totally looks like he's just extending his arms.
And sorry, when a snapper extends his arms, he's doing what? Snapping the ball. So they shouldn't move when he moves his arms, right? They probably shouldn't be jumping when he goes to snap the ball. When he moves his arms,
he was pushing the ball into the ground, not moving back.
So his arms move, and so the defender shouldn't jump because they should know that he's pushing that into the ground, right?
So they have to stand absolutely still.
Yes, that is what you have to do on offense. You cannot. Yes, that is the rule, though. You have to stay still. You can't do anything to force the defenders to move.
Well, I guess we'll let the viewers decide because I think that's pretty obviously.
I think that's a great call. They made the same call later in the game. It's a fantastic call. Even Tom Brady, if you want to go by what he was saying, and I didn't like Tom Brady's commentary in this game, but even Tom Brady was saying, yeah, I was trying to get away with this in New England for a long time. And then some guy named Mike Pereira got on my snapper and I about this and started calling false starts on us. He's like, so I think this is a good call.
Austin is certainly entitled to his opinion, but it will not help the Chiefs win anymore. Then they will not get any more points on the board.
That's the other thing that bothers me mostly about this. And then I'll shut up about the refs until next season. But the other thing that bothers me is everyone who complains about the refs all year, and then the Eagles win, and everyone's like, "We won in spite of the refs," and it's like, okay, really, like that's not like you can't have it both ways, man. Like you can't be like, "Oh, the refs," and then the Eagles win, and you're like, "Yep, we won in spite of the refs, everyone, even though the refs made no calls in this game that would have impacted this win whatsoever. Like there was nothing you could have done. It was like, oh, it's because they knew that they couldn't get away with it this time. It's like, really? They're getting away with it all season. That's your argument. But then the Super Bowl rolls around and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to let this one play out.
Let's just play devil's advocate with the argument, though. For most of the season, the Chiefs won by very slim margins, right?
That does not.
Let me finish. We talked about this on the podcast, how they just were barely sneaking by with like, I mean, okay, some of them obviously were not the refs, like the goal, like the ball hitting the goalpost, things like that. But we have to agree they won by very slim margins for a lot of games.
And 2 years ago, the Vikings were 15-1 and had a negative point differential and made it to the first round of the playoffs. That doesn't mean the refs were rigging games.
All I'm saying is that I can see how these people say that those games could be more easily rigged. There's more crucial calls because of how slim the margins were versus this game where the Eagles just completely blew them out. That's all I'm saying. But they did absolutely blow them out, and you can't do anything about it, Austin. I'm sorry.
Look, I'm not saying that like, oh, well, you know, maybe I should start whining that the referees didn't call things in the Chiefs' favor and they were being biased against the Eagles and letting things go. Maybe I should start complaining about that. No, congratulations to the Eagles. Games are not won or lost by the referees. The Eagles obviously played the better game in this one. Even with locking down Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts was able to win Super Bowl MVP and carry his team to his first ever Super Bowl.
Also, let it not be passed over, but didn't Caden not predict the Eagles would win? He predicted the Chiefs and Eagles in the Super Bowl. Didn't he also say that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl?
I think that his we're gonna need to fact check that one. I don't know.
He did. But we'll have to see once. But anyways,
Crazy prediction.
it is a crazy prediction that
Okay.
he gets the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
We'll have to fact check our own fact on that one.
Right. Real. All right. Do you want to move on to the halftime show?
Sure, you guys got this.
All right, Carson, kick us off. What'd you think?
Halftime show. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. I actually knew the music, so it made it more enjoyable. Past years, they have like Little John out there, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing?
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Lil Jon.
I'm sorry to any Little John listeners out there. I'm
You
sorry.
said it again. It's Lil.
I'm gonna keep saying Little.
You're right.
I'm just gonna keep saying that. Solid performance by Kendrick. There was nothing that was like too crazy about it, but I liked it. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think
Keegan.
it's kind of funny watching the reactions. I think at this point, every Super Bowl halftime show, everyone thinks it's either the greatest thing of all time, or people think it's
Or
like
the
the
worst.
of all time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you saw all the types of different people from media, could be any type of media, commenting on how much they either loved or hated it. I don't know. I personally liked it as well, but I also am a Kendrick fan, and I listened to his music, so I understood the lyrics. But I mean, he had a great lineup, played most of the songs that obviously people would know. Famously played "Not Like Us." That was pretty fun to watch him call out Drake and then deviously smile, right?
Looked right into the camera.
Just like let out the biggest grin of all time.
He was cheesing.
Yeah, he was cheesing hard, but yeah. And then what's her name? The tennis player,
SZA.
Serena Williams.
Serena Williams,
thank you. Crib walking
I
was kind of crazy.
didn't notice that was her while I was watching.
I didn't realize it was.
Girlfriends?
Yes, so she's Drake's ex-girlfriend. That's the whole thing.
That's wild.
And she got in trouble for crip walking during like one of the tennis open things or whatever. So that was kind of her like sticking it to them type of thing. But overall, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. I don't know what they could have done better, honestly. Like, it was amazing. It could have been longer. That would have made it better.
I mean, valid. Yeah.
Crazy.
I think there's a certain limitation if you're watching performance compared to if you're actually there.
For
I
sure.
don't know. That's just my opinion, but
Yeah.
it can only get so good.
Yeah.
I mean-
I saw some shots from like the crowd in the Super Bowl, and it seemed like either people didn't know the music where the video is being shot, or it seemed like people are kind of just like, what do you
Yeah,
even
well,
do at that type of event?
the target audience for
Yeah,
Kendrick Lamar is not the people that are going to the Super Bowl, the rich, wealthy people. So I mean,
well, I
it's
mean,
just
there's definitely some,
well,
but
yeah, some people, but I'm just
not
saying
the majority.
majority are
They're not
not
like
going to
the super
be.
fans that are gonna like sing
Yeah.
all the songs and
Right.
whatever else.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay,
There you
well, I was gonna say another funny thing I noticed was when they showed Taylor Swift on the big screen that the entire stadium booed her, which is pretty nuts. And I saw there was an alternative camera angle where someone was like, not everyone booed, but there were definitely some pretty loud boos, which just shows I think people, I think in general, just don't like the popularity of like the NFL being like, we're gonna use this as much as possible now. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see where that goes. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I think that the halftime show is definitely more geared for the people at home.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that
Oh,
like
yeah.
the people there, like they're either there because they're like diehard football fans, and that's why they somehow got in there,
Yeah.
or they're celebrities, and I don't know why they're there because they definitely don't like football or watched all year, but here they are
Right.
now.
Just so they can
Whatever.
afford it. It's like the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
event in
Like,
America.
the only person there who actually cared about the outcome of that game was Paul Rudd, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay. Any last thoughts on the halftime show?
None whatsoever.
All right, Austin, take us into the final segment.
All right, last thing we're going to talk about here is the 2024 season award winners. So I think that most of these were no-brainers. Carson, Debbie, do you guys know a whole lot about this? Like, am I going to be able to bounce this off of you?
Not so much for me.
I am familiar with Burrow, Allen, and Ben Johnson, and Jaden Daniels. So you mostly, yeah.
Okay, so obviously, like was alluded to, MVP winner this year was Josh Allen. I actually don't know if I agree 100% with this pick for MVP. It really, I think some more definition needs to be added as to what MVP means. Are we talking like the player who actually had the best season, in which case I think Lamar Jackson deserves this 1,000%. He had a better year than Josh Allen did, and he did all of that while not missing a step in production, while having Derrick Henry, which is insane. Lamar Jackson definitely had one of the best years of all time for a quarterback. But obviously, if your criteria is not who had the best year, if your criteria is who was the most valuable player to that team, then Josh Allen wins this every day of the week, because obviously there is no team without Josh Allen. There is no one else on that team who had the heart or the drive or the skill to bring that team as far as they did other than Josh Allen. Obviously, you can also make that argument for Joe Burrow, but he won his own award. So I'm okay with Josh Allen winning this. I feel like we should have switched the last 2 years' winners. I feel like last year Josh Allen should have won MVP, and this year Lamar Jackson should have won the MVP.
Mhm.
But I mean, they each got their MVP. I think we need more definition as to what MVP actually means in the NFL.
And MVP, it really should be MVQ, most valuable quarterback, because I mean, I don't know the last time a quarterback didn't win it. It's a quarterback dominated award, and I mean, we all know that, but it's kind of disappointing to see a quarterback win it yet again when Saquon had such a great season. But I think we all knew Josh Allen was going to win when the award ceremony rolled around, and it definitely is a narrative award. I think Josh Allen was the best quarterback on one of the best teams. He's going to get the award. So, and he hasn't had one yet. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly. Next up, Coach of the Year. Kevin O'Connell goes ahead and wins that one, which is a fantastic. I mean, obviously he should have. No one expected the Vikings to perform well whatsoever, and then obviously they go ahead and destroy this thing. I think this is his second Coach of the Year award, so shout out to him for being a really great coach. Looking forward to see what the Vikings can do next year if Sam Darnold sticks around or not.
Yeah, Vikings definitely defied expectations this year. No one thought they were going to be good after McCarthy got injured in preseason. So they had to put in Sam Darnold, who was better than any Vikings fans could have hoped for, which is really great to see their team, and especially Sam Darnold, after such a rough first few years of his career, kind of get back on track.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year, we had Patrick Surtain, and obviously I think that's well deserved. I don't think that shocked hardly anyone that he won this award. Had a number of notable interceptions or fumble recoveries, as that one may have gone down as. Great year from him. It's a little weird to not see a Myles Garrett or TJ Watt winning that award, but so goes it. Next up, Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley. Obviously, he performed very, very well. He almost broke the rushing record. Won the Super Bowl, even though, I mean, they vote on this before the season comes to a close, so there's no way to have known that, but he obviously did crazy, crazy good. I have heard some conversation about the fact that maybe Jamar Chase should have won this award. I mean, he is the Triple Crown winner. He's one of very few players to achieve the Triple Crown. So it's up to interpretation, is what the committee voters wanted. I think Saquon's a fine pick for this. Obviously, he was fantastic all year.
I don't disagree with it. I think it's fine. Saquon had an incredible year. I think he deserves it as much as anyone else does.
I agree. Defensive player of the year, or defensive rookie of the year, I should say, is it Jared Verse? Is that how you pronounce his name?
I would not know.
I wouldn't know either. I've actually not familiar with his game whatsoever, and I have no idea who this man is.
I do not either.
Probably not relevant. Offensive rookie of the year, obviously everyone knows Jaden Daniels. That was always going to be the case. He had one of the greatest rookie seasons that we've ever seen. So shout out to him. Excited to see what he can do next year and for his career after, for that matter. And then comeback player of the year, Joe Burrow goes ahead and takes this award. They recently, as of this year, updated what comeback player of the year means, because, you know, it was kind of vague. It's like, come back from what? Like, come back from being really bad, because then you get guys like Geno Smith winning the award, even though, like, you know, he was injured a little bit, but it's mostly because he came back from being bad. Mm-hmm. And then instead, they update it to you have to come back from an injury. So that definitely gives a lot more precedence to like what this can be, instead of just being like who had a good season that had a bad year last year. It's okay, who was injured last year that can win it this year. And obviously that goes to Joe Burrow. He had a crazy year, obviously, like I mentioned, in the running for MVP. He was in that conversation. And he spent most of last year out with lingering calf injuries or hand injuries, things of that nature. So it's not a crazy injury to come back from, but an injury nonetheless, and that's why he won this award.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved. I actually didn't know that they changed the criteria for that, because I was thinking, hey, hold on, what about Sam Darnold? I think he had a.
I thought Sam Darnold should have won too until I saw the criteria update. Yeah,
but that makes sense, bro. Had a season-ending injury last year, came back, threw for almost 5,000 passing yards, almost 50 touchdowns, had an incredible year. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, that is going to do it for us today, I think. Debbie, do we have anything else prepared?
Not that I know of. I think we'll probably do, we'll see once, but we probably will do like one more episode, just kind of recapping the entire season. We usually do that one. And that would probably be it for us this season. Come back for season 4 next year, which is kind of crazy.
Before that, make sure you tune in over the summer.
Right.
I have a very, very special date with a lovely teddy bear that is in store for you all.
Can't wait.
stay tuned for that.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that is going to do it. Obviously, like Debbie alluded to, we have one more episode to get through potentially before this season of KNA football comes to a close, just like the NFL season. I can't believe that it went so fast. It feels like just not that long ago, I have my desk set up backwards in my dorm room, so that way the lighting is just right for this. And even then, it casts weird shadows on my face. And I thought, man, the NFL season is never going to end. We have so many. We have from August until February. This will go forever. And now here we are, come to a close again. And that's okay though, because we all know what next year is. That's the Browns' year. See you guys next time. Thank you all for watching.